noise. I hope you guys can hear me. Oh, it could be the fan. It's Miss Nikki trying to get the fan. Ah, that should be better. Got my other fan on too, but just wanted to come on and port. Port's doing good since the little could have been the beginning of a small infection. Of course, a small one can lead to a big one. All right. And so antibiotics are working well tomorrow. It's the second time I'll get to use my port. Excited, loved it, and I also see my surgeon again tomorrow after the long infusion day. Same building though, so that's good. Um, just wanted to get on and encourage us because some of us have been now mutually like having met on YouTube a few years ago now. Have been battling like this level of dysautonomias together for a few years, and we're all progressing. And you go through these different phases, and the grief, and then the I won't even go down the list. But now we're entering into a different zone. There's a point where after a few years, you've learned to live with it, but then the symptoms begin to change and progress, and weirder and weirder things begin to happen depending on your type of dysautonomia. Let me be clear. You could be a teenager who just has teenage pots that you outgrow, but you could also be a teenager who has pots that you don't outgrow, or there are various different things. But if you are a multiple sufferer of various dysautonomias like myself, progressive dysautonomias like myself, um, then it's just like with any other, like MS or anything similar, especially those of us with multiple system atrophy, and those of us who have chased every specialist and are now headed to Vanderbilt, like I am in September, and have filed for disability, have had those disappointments, and just all the things that come with it, and the freedom. And some of us are able to, this is my main point, for those who've been dealing with this for a long time now, and you notice, um, okay, this is how my friends and my family and society are going to treat me pretty much across the line. And each scenario is different. For me, my intimate family, those whom I live with, it's just my son and I live with my parents. Awesome. I have my freedom of choice about my illness. But outside of the house, very few have connected with me on a level of acceptance that I have, and a level of understanding, because dysautonomias are so difficult to understand. It is really hard to explain to friends at length, because this person has to have some patience to sit down and learn and hear everything that you have discovered over, my symptoms originally started to show themselves in 2004. And so now I go all the way back to that point as far as the progression and seeing, and the information is difficult. The autonomic nervous system for specialists is a difficult thing to understand. So trying to explain that in layman's terms to family and friends, and they have to be around a lot. It's not about the diagnosis, it's about the symptoms and how they handicap you or debilitate you on any given day. That's what matters most. And your family reacts to the symptoms and not necessarily your diagnosis, which they can't understand, your family, your friends, or whomever, society. And so they take away your freedoms. They try. Mine, I haven't tried, and but my personality is also quite. If you were to try, I would run off to some place you'd never be able to find me. So people have a tendency to not treat me that way because they, no, I'll just run off. Literally, will leave the country or the state. That's always been my personality, and it has a lot to do with my having been molested as a young child. Like, I, if you try to make me a caged bird, for consistently long amount of length of time, I can bear only but so much, and I feel like a caged bird as it is during holidays and things like that. If they're at my house and I'm in my room going through my symptoms, which I never have a symptom-free day. So, every holiday, birthday that's here or whatever we're doing here, dinner, I'm in this room dealing with symptoms. And some people, want to tell you, oh, you shouldn't drive. Close that door. I'm talking. I love him halfway. Um, you know, if it were up to people outside of my house, I would never drive. But I know my doctor has cleared me because of my POTS and the way my things go. My body gives me so much notice. But then there are those the body doesn't. Each patient's symptoms are different. And so when I'm in a bad flare, I know not to drive myself somewhere, not because I'm going to faint while driving, but I'll have to pull over and then call someone to come and pick me up. And it's just a big inconvenience. And so I just rather be chauffeured around for those few months. And it's usually 3 to 6 months at a time has passed. I'm like, oh my God, I'm still not driving. But see, I have enough sense to know not to drive. People assume that because you have some physical disabilities or even neurological issues or brain fog that you've got Alzheimer's or dementia or no. We have to slow things down. People, if you can, and I know some of us have already lost our freedoms, and I know some of you out there have no idea what I'm talking about, especially newly diagnosed people. It is very possible to have your freedoms taken away. It is very possible to have an illness and be oppressed by people who love you. They love you, and they only are trying to do their best for you. But only you and your heart and your body and your mind knows what's best for you. Because we're not mentally incapable of making decisions. You may need to slow down and wait until our brain fog lifts or whatever, but it's our lives. Keep your freedom. I am broke as I don't know what, but I prefer poverty over oppression any day. I can't do oppression, and I don't think anyone should have to go from freedom to oppression. It's one thing if you start out that way, born into slavery and oppression. That's all I know, working in cotton fields. But if you were born free and then you get an illness and then you are all of a sudden oppressed by your own family and friends and society, it's not okay. Find a way to get that freedom back, because I was having a conversation by text with some wonderful ladies and who all have dysautonomias, and that's what we're talking about, your freedoms and keeping them, and deciding I'd rather be broke than oppressed. I went blank. There was something specifically I was going to say that I lost it. Got a lot on my mind. I go to Vanderbilt in September, and I'm due to be at an appointment in a few minutes now, and yeah, new people, don't let go of your freedom. Keep it at all costs, because it's okay every once in a while to feel like a caged bird and people helping you. But once they begin to cross the line, if you are of age, and even if you're not, you can be a teenager and know how to say, it's still my life. It's still, I'm breathing. You're not breathing for me. I'm breathing. And I have to like the life I have. Oh, and that's what we were saying, how your freedom can prolong your life. That oppression can help to deteriorate your situation so much faster and irritate and aggravate your symptoms. Freedom can prolong your life. And a lot of us, this progressive illness, the truth is that it's going to take a lot of us sooner than we would have normally have gone. And I'm talking death now. And I'm talking serious. And I'm talking I'm making out my will and mapping out after Vanderbilt, depending on what they say, how to go about the rest of my life, my freedom with my son. That's real. I'm not giving up my freedom. Not. I'm broke, but never been rich. Don't know what to miss. All right, Bezos, be good, be free as possible, and don't let it go.